Go again. No. But no, welcome, guys. I'm glad you're here to kick our season off also. I know you're excited as we are to give you something to do full time and fill up your radio shows and lines and keep you busy and keep you out all the honeydews at home. But excited, like I said, excited for the season to start. Very excited for our team and seeing this team emerge, again, develop its own personality, identity. Have liked what's going on so far as through our spring and summer. Been very happy, not with just the results, but the attitude and the work ethic and a lot of the intangibles. Like times I've been around teams that have gotten results in the summers, but you always worried about work ethic because of attendance or a guy here, excuse. We haven't had that. I mean, guys doing a really good job as far as being where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. One of the things they have to do. So from that standpoint, I've been very excited. I mean, that's one of the keys to everything, because it sets a precedent of how the culture is. Very excited for practice. You know, everybody talks about wanting to see the young guys, which we all do, because some of those guys, as we've shown in the past, are always needed. You have to use all those guys. You don't know which one is going to emerge, which one isn't going to emerge, how I can handle, all the things that go on. But also excited to see some of the upperclassmen, how some of their roles expand, how they're going to grow as leaders, how they're going to grow as players, how guys, from the guys that even started out to that top role, but even guys that were significant backups that played quality time or started a few games and now maybe full-time guys are dependent upon that. Just watching how all that pressure, as they say, or responsibility, for a better word, goes on their back and how they deal with those things. I think there's a lot of questions that we have to answer. I mean, we have a very good team. I love our team, but, we still have work like everybody else. We have to develop depth at certain places. We have to develop starters at certain places. We have to establish what our personality is as far as offense and defense and things we can truly count on, and who we can hang our hat on, and who's going to be there in those key moments. I mean, there's a lot of things that's got to emerge in this next month, and will continue to emerge throughout the season. It's not always going to happen right here in the month of August. But that's the thing about sports I think we all love, is that we think we know, but there's still all the unknown. And then you have to stay healthy. You have to work hard. You have to have great personalities and relationships throughout the team, correct the chemistry. It's like last year's team. I thought the bonding of our team, the selflessness of our team, and the true cohesiveness of our team was extremely critical and was one of the best I'd ever been around. And there's no reason to say that this one can't be, but that has to develop every year. That's a relationship. Relationships are culture. They're over time, how people respond to each other. And if people change, as their responsibility change. All those things have to evolve. But I like where we're at. I'm very excited. That's why, we never know the results of the games, and really looking forward to fall camp. But again, I think we have a very talented team. I think then we have to put the pieces in the right places and ask them to do things and then accept the roles. So really looking forward to that. Question?
But within moments after winning the national championship last year, it seems you flipped the switch and began to talk about not defending that title and doing the things that are necessary to prepare to win again and to be great, sustain greatness. You've talked some about your search for people who have exhibited that, had success, and then countered that with more success and continued to have more success. Who specifically did you look at beyond the Michael Jordans of the world? I know you've read.
Phil Jackson. Read a lot of Phil Jackson's books because it's from a player standpoint, how to relate that to players. Bird, Magic, those kind of Montana, those kind of guys. But from a coaching standpoint, Phil Jackson, he's been able to three-peat 3 times. I mean, you go back and keeping that longevity and Pat Riley was guys in which we studied. I went back to a lot of the old Steelers stuff, watching the old videos of the Steelers, and even Chuck Noll, and it's funny how each guy was so different. Now, there were different times and time periods, but the key to all of them was how they related and got the message over to other players to make sure that they stayed hungry and at the same time still enjoyed. I think one of the keys to all those things was that it was serious, it was work, we're playing, but at the end of the day, they still enjoyed playing the game. I think we can get so caught up, again, in not trying to lose instead of winning and playing good football. And like I say, sometimes you can play great ball and do things right and have fun, and it doesn't go your way, but you've done what. And I think what I don't want us to do is create a culture here where we're worried about losing. We're worried about, something like that happening. I still want to keep it fun. I still want the work ethic. We create the habits, all those types of things. But I think all the keys, a lot of the coaches in which even repeated and you learn from. Jimmy Johnson was another one. Tried to listen and study different things and quotes and little books and things he's read. But the thing about they still enjoyed playing the game. I think that's one of the most critical things in all this.
Jimbo, is Sean solidified pretty much the number 2? Is there any competition?
Who?
Sean.
Oh.
Is there any competition?
Oh yeah, there's competition everywhere.
Would you But this year, one is solidified, two is solidified. Is there any drawback in any way because they're not competing for the job, or is it
all
you not
competing for the
have
job.
to worry about that?
Oh, they're competing for the job. James thinking about him perform, he won't play. He knows that. And Sean's the same way. I mean, I think Sean's a very solid number 2, but at the same time, I'm anxious to see how John Franklin has grown over the summer when he's not doing track and ball and how JJ comes on. So, I mean, none of those are in stone, but at the same time, I like the guys that are there.
Jimbo, all things being equal, everybody at this level recruits quarterbacks who are talented, got some size, can throw, can run, whatever it is. All things being equal, if you had two guys equal, what does a guy got to do to get on the field for you outside of his talent? What does he have to show you beyond that?
How he affects the guys on the team. I mean, the most important thing as a quarterback is not what you do, it's how you affect the other guys on the team, the confidence you give them, the influence you have on them, how you make them feel when they're on the field, and can they function while you're on the field and be able to lead it down the field. It's how you, it's not just what you do, a lot of guys say that, but it's how the guys relate to you, how they respond to you, how do they play around you, because a quarterback's only as good as the people who's around him, and how they play. I think those are all critical factors. How does he move the team? Does he put the team in position to win? I mean, I could sit here and give you a list of about 100 things that all go into that.
Jimbo, at the end of spring, you were talking about how Jameis and Roberto kind of had to work on not being bored.
Mm-hmm.
How were they this summer, especially Jameis after baseball?
Really good. I thought Jameis come back. It's fresh. It was really fresh. I had to make him sit back for a while and take a couple weeks here and there with conditioning and where he was. And I think he was very anxious to get better fundamentally. That was what encouraged me. Did a lot of film studying his footwork and working on releases and quickening things up. I was very pleased with who he was. And I think Roberto went back this summer to Roberto. Not that he did in the spring, but trying to experiment, tweaked a few things, but I mean, really got back to his basics of what he was doing. I was very pleased after hearing everything from what they did in the summer. But Jameis kept a good, fresh mind. When you talked to him, it wasn't just like, oh, I got to go out there and do it. You know what I mean? He was fresh and excited about it, which I think that allows you to get better.
Coach, at the wide receiver position, Kevin Benjamin, Kenny Chog on. Any chance for the freshmen to come in, Erman Lane, and what's that?
Oh, they're going to get a look. Erman Lane, Travis Rudolph, John Harrison. I mean, all those guys are very talented. But at the same time, you still have Christian Green, has had some really good plays around here and done some significant things. Scooter Higgins, who has played, who's been injured and got injured last year, unfortunately, but can be back in the mix. And then you still have Bobo and you still have Kermit. So from that, and they got Isaiah. So, I mean, all those guys, it's going to be a great challenge, great competition, but the best guy will play.
How about the freshmen defensive tackles that are coming in? How have they looked in the strength program? Do they have a chance to maybe contribute?
Yeah, I think some of those guys have come in extremely strong, athletic, and have done a good job for their high school program. Some of them, it does matter where you come from. Everybody loves to have those guys when they walk out here, seniors that are 500-pound benchers and 600-pound squads. Well, to get to that part, it's not just what you do in college. It's the programs you come from in high school have a big part of that, laying that foundation so you can grow as you get here. But we have some of these guys here that have come in this group that are physically have done an excellent job in high school and are, I think, physically can take the pounding and have the strength to make a significant contribution as freshmen, but now they got to go out and play.
How tough is that to be in the trenches at 18, 19 years old to make that transition?
That's why basketball guys go to the NBA, baseball guys go to Major League Baseball. High school guys don't go to the NFL. That's the difference. Because all those are contact. This is collision. When you put your hand in the dirt at this level of ball, and at that NFL, there's grown men in there. And there's even a difference in college and pro. Some of those guys can emerge early, but when you put your hand in the dirt and you look up at some of these guys that do it's 500-600 pounds and bend and run like you're a skill guy and have an attitude, that's the difference. That's why you don't see that. And that's why you don't see it in football guys jumping to the highest levels.
In the vein of you're either improving or you're going backwards, how do you improve on last season?
It's not about the record. It's about the program, how the program improves, how it improves our people. How do we get better as a support system of supporting our guys, whether it's in school, whether it's as people, whether it's in personal development, all the different things, and how do we develop them individually as players and make them cohesive to a team? We get so caught up. I mean, your record is, as they say, who you are and you want to win it, but you can still improve in so many ways and not have won every game. Now, that's our goal. That's what we plan on doing. But at the same time, it's about the culture in which you create and the people in which you develop.
when you guys won the national championship, you talked a lot about the previous teams that you had, 2011 when those guys lost 3 in a row, 2012 when you lost at NC State, how that kind of all led up to you guys winning the national championship. Having, young guys like Winston and Ramsey be 2 of your main leaders, I mean, are there challenges with those guys that they haven't experienced some of those disappointments?
Yeah, well, Jameis did because he was on it as a redshirt guy, but I'll still show video clips. I'll still throw reminders in there about where you want to be, and like I said, it's like, once you climb that podium, once you're up on that podium, do you really want to walk off? How important is it to stay on that podium? And we talk about that, and we show pictures of some of the things, or we'll have clips, or we'll have a brief thing of things that we didn't do well when those moments came that we thought we could overcome or had disappointing loss, which is part of sports. It's all part of growing. But we'll throw those flashes up there to remind them of you're either going to walk off that podium or you're going to stay on that podium. So we still throw reminders and things in there, I like to dwell on negative, but you have to educate and teach. And you have to give examples and then say why these things happen, and you move on, and then this didn't happen here, and this is why. So, I mean, it's a constant educational process on our part.
Jimbo, injury-wise, when you break camp today, who's going to be limited, who's out?
Everybody should be good to go. We're going to hold now just to have some team contact, maybe just to let that. He's all individual, and he's ready to go. Just we'll give him a couple days. But he's up front with those big guys pushing. We're going to let it evolve into it, but we should be ready to go. I mean, we should be cleanly healthy.
A leg way as well from the list?
No, leg way we're holding because of Liz Frank, and that is it. But he has progressed. He's ahead of schedule, and we really like where he's at. Some guys just, and that's why injuries. Some guys heal quicker than others. I don't know what it is, but he seems to be one of those guys that he heals really quickly.
You said you're not going to find every answer, during August, but defensively, what are you looking to see emerge over these next 2-3 weeks?
I want to see those front guys take the responsibility of starting. I want to see the quality depth behind it so we can get a quality rotation. I know we got plenty of guys capable who can be dependable and accountable. I think leadership role at linebacker. I think Terrence Harris, but who steps up at Mike linebacker and becomes the leader at that position. I think as we evolve into our nickel and dime packages, how we mix those guys in the secondary, I think we have more leadership there probably than anywhere on defense and more vocal guys. But, who's the pass rushers? Who's going to become those pass rushers? Who's going to be our DPR guys? Who's on third down? Going to be our designated pass rush guys, inside, outside guys? I mean, there's a ton of things. Who's going to be the nickel backers? Who will be the first and second down backers? I mean, there's a ton of things in there.
Do you have a defined first team starters at linebacker yet, or you'll let?
No, we'll rotate guys because the way we practice, we have 1s and 3s and 1s, 2s and 4s. We're going to get quality reps, and we'll mix and match different groups of people, and also who plays well together. Sometimes people don't look at that. Certain guys play better beside certain guys. Other guys play better by other guys, and creating those packages at times is going to be critical in identifying that also.
As you're able to spend some time working with the team and players this off season, do you feel like you have a better idea of what you're looking at going into camp and during these years?
I think it's very similar. I still think it's very similar. We did a lot of the same things, and now we can be out there and put more eyeballs on them and get to watch them ourselves and legally be out there to do it. I mean, because before you couldn't do it, you had to go by word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? By being out there to watch, I think that helps. But I still think it's very similar to what we've done.
Jimbo, you mentioned fun and wanting to keep it.
I'm sorry?
You mentioned fun and wanting to keep it fun for the players. Has that always been an attitude of yours? Is that something that's developed?
It is, and the fun comes when you know what to do. When you have a responsibility, every job is fun when you know what to do and how to do it. No job is fun when you don't know what to do and don't know how to do it. I mean, that's part of it, and I think the more guys that we can get to understand what we're trying to accomplish and to play the game. It's fun. It's a fun game to play when you really know what to do, but that's always been an emphasis. I mean, this game is too hard to play without enjoyment.
To that end, getting back Tyler Hunter, how big is that?
Oh, critical. I mean, you just see him. He's like a kid at Christmas. He's like he's 2 years old again. You know what I mean? 2 or 3 when you first really started knowing Santa Claus was coming. Just watching his face and watching his and to me as a coach, it's very rewarding. And to his coaches, just to watch how hard he's worked to come back and how much that tells you how much it means to him. People think these kids were spoiled. People think these kids at times get those claims that you're just a prima donna. You go through the trials and tribulations of somebody that could walk away from it and do something. I mean, how much it really means to him to be out there on that field.
you have a lot of running backs coming back from injuries from the spring too. I mean, you've always had multiple guys and a lot of carries. Are you eager to see who steps up behind?
No doubt. I mean, Carlos, on offense, and Carlos taking that role. How consistent will he be? You know what I mean? And then you have Ryan Green, you have Mario Pender, you have Dalvin Cook, you have Vickers, and Freddie Stevenson back there is evolving into. Freddie's a very talented guy now. Can run it, block it, and do a lot of things. And how he gets better, so we can put more on his plate and going forward. But yeah, so that is going to be extremely critical.
Do you feel like you're able to get more out of this first week just because you have, Winston back, you have the same defense as you guys were working in last year?
I think the more knowledge of the system, without a doubt. I think it's a second year on defense at exactly the system we're running, so I think the knowledge of that is increased. So I think the young guys will even know more because the older guys can help them. I mean, sometimes going in last year early, the older guys couldn't help them because they were learning it for the first time too. So I think from that standpoint, yes, and offensively with all the experience you have, when a young guy, I mean, he's got to do it. And you got it drawn on the board and you see a picture. But when you got a guy in front of you who's doing it right and he can explain little things to help you, I mean, it just makes it that much easier. And I think from all that standpoint, it really will.
Coach, you guys did as good a job as any team in the country last year, eliminating the clutter. After the season that you've had, is the clutter any different? Is it heightened?
I think it's people have tried to make it. We just eliminated it yesterday. Social media is off there. So that's their choice. That wasn't mine. That's what our unity council wanted to do. The guys like that because it shows a unified group together and committing to something. And, yeah, that can be clutter. And that's things that, but clutter can be a lot of things besides that. I mean, there's hundreds of ways to have clutter. It's how you think and what you think. And I think that gets back to prioritize. What are your priorities? And so when you prioritize, that's what you think about. That's what you focus on. And to me, that's going to be the key.
You'll go a couple of guys on defense, if you don't mind, in the rotation.
All right, I do mind.
DeMarcus Walker and Reggie Northup.
He don't listen, does he?
Yeah. Where's DeMarcus and Reggie Northup right now? And as
DeMarcus is will play a ton of football. He's right behind Mario Edwards, and will be counted upon to have a tremendous season. Hopefully, play a ton of football. Could be a starter. We're battling for a starting job. I think he's going to have an excellent summer. His strength. He's always been a strong guy. He's really quickened up. I think he's carrying his body much better. Reggie Northup will be battling for the starting Mike linebacker spot. He'll be right in there taking reps with the ones and twos and battling right in there.
Jimbo, you mentioned social media a couple minutes ago. Earlier this week or last week, both Penn State and Georgia, they stopped recruiting guys because of their social media activity. Have you ever done that?
Oh, no doubt.
How much do you monitor?
Just like the NFL does. Look at social media. It tells you what a guy's like. Done that many times. What he's involved with, who he's associated with, things that go on. I mean, we monitor those things. I mean, we don't specifically go looking for it like they do with whatever paying guys. I mean, they pay people to go through every Twitter feed or text message you've had since you were 3. We don't do that, but that's how you have to communicate with kids now. You can email, you can Facebook, you can Twitter. I mean, different accounts and different things that are said. And if things are out there that are alarming to us and brought to our attention, we definitely. It sends a message about who you're getting into and what you're willing to say and do. There's no doubt.
Is that on coaches or are there staffers that kind of keep an eye on that?
Well, coaches, staff, we don't have a group of people who do it, but as coaches, and I'm going to tell you what, y'all see them all. One of y'all throw it on something and bring it up, and it gets brought out like, it's one thing about social media. Nothing's hidden on the other end of that thing either. Somewhere it gets, when a kid does something that significant, another school, another player, a coach, one of our coaches recruits, somebody throws it out there that you see it when it's something of significance. It really does.
What's the line between just being a dumb kid, 17 years old, and actual red flag?
Well, if you can define that one for me. I think it's all interpretation of what you see, and then the research and what you do behind it. I think it's not just important to see what he does on Twitter. And all his coaches, all his teachers, if you ever talk to his family or an aunt, an uncle, or somebody in that area who knows a kid or somebody. There's people there that we all have connections with, and people can find out about people. Like you say, no one thing can make you stop. That can be a red flag or alert. There could be an issue, or like you say, he could have he's 17 years old, made a silly mistake. I'm glad our generation never ever did that. I can't prove it, right? It's not on Twitter or Facebook or email.
Your first couple of years here as an assistant, and Dossie's first couple of years here, it took him a while to get the receivers to be exact with the routes and things like that. How much these freshmen, how much will they benefit from Rashad and the Christian?
Critical. Knowing how to do it, what to do, and having tons of teaching films to go off of. And then I think our players really knowing what to do, and again, going out there and showing them. And I'm going to tell you what, and your quarterbacks. I think now Jameis, I mean, he really understands what he wants and how he wants, and I think that's something even he picked up this summer from watching, from Peyton Manning and different guys, which I always talk to him about. Pick 2 routes a day. Go run them 100 times. Make those guys understand how to do it. He did a lot of those things, just teaching and getting them in perspective of how to do it. And then again, getting good players really makes a difference because you learn better and you adjust better. But that's critical, no doubt about it.
How open is the punting job this
Oh, it's going to be open.
Who's going to be competing?
Jason and and we'll have with him will be is it Hernandez? I would say it the wrong way, but Hernandez, and he's left-footed. He got a great leg out of Manatee. He can kick it good, but again, it's going to be on consistency.
Would you consider JJ? I know he's a great punter.
We're going to look at JJ. We're going to look at JJ. JJ had a little hamstring that was tight this summer, so he didn't kick as much because we didn't want to strain it. But we're definitely going to take a look. But if Mason does what he does and he's had a good summer, Mason can do it.
Jimbo, are you booked for summer? You mentioned the 2 hours of film study and how it would be helpful for the receiver. What about Carlos and his full first?
Oh, it's helpful for everybody. I mean, to be able to sit with a coach and go over things and how to do it. I mean, the more times you hear it and see it, the better it gets. I think it involves. Carlos is still learning a new position. It's all part of the growing process for him.
Where's Mario Pender in his development? Kind of unique situation.
Had a great summer. Had a good at school. He's doing good off the field. I mean, has really been very consistent. And then I'm gonna tell you what, he's in shape. And I'm gonna tell you what, that sucker can fly.
You worried all about him not having any game action and that's along?
No, I mean he'll play. He had a good spring. I think he'll play extremely well. He's one of the guys I'm really looking forward to watching. I mean, that sucker can run now. He's as fast as anybody.
With such a young group of receivers, how invaluable is it to have a shot out there and kind of give us an idea of what he's been doing to bring those young guys along?
Oh, he meets with him, goes over what's expected, and Jameis, both of them. I think all those guys have taken a leadership role and helped developing these guys of what to do and how consistent to be, and been great role models for them.
Have you had any more permits on what Bobo's status will be?
No, I'm gonna meet with him now, and I'll discuss it when after I meet with him. Then I'll let y'all know. But he's still suspended indefinitely until right now. That's like we was. I still got to gather one more fact, and then we'll proceed.
With Carlos being the most experienced guy, with running back, really, I mean, is he kind of taking guys under his wing, or is he?
Oh, he does. Carlos, he's been around here, and Carlos is a natural leader. It's natural for people to follow him, and he likes to do those things. He likes to help folks. I mean, he has a great heart. So from that standpoint, he's done a really nice job in the leadership role.
Jimbo, just wanted to clarify, is Bobo going to practice today? Or?
Oh, yeah, they can practice. He'll practice.
I
mean, definitely, whether it's games we miss or whatever it is, they can still practice. Okay.
JJ on Twitter, which I guess was probably his last tweet, was talking about how Jameis is hard on him, but he really likes it. What does he mean by that? Jameis is hard on him. Is he hard on his teammates? Is he got a little bit
demanding?
Yeah,
because he knows one thing. He ain't gonna be as hard on him as I am.
Right.
He knows what's going to be expected and how things are done and what goes on, and tolerating mistakes or whatever. But also, you got to gradually break them in. You know what I'm saying? Of how things are done and and how that you can't repeat mistakes. And it's not JJ's fast learning going to be really sharp. But I have to ask him exactly. I didn't know what he meant, but I mean probably in that there's a standard, there's a culture in which we do things around here. And probably just trying to get him to understand that because one thing about JJ though, he is a workaholic. That won't be an issue.
But is that Jameis' kind of person? Was he like that last year?
Without doubt. That's who he is. You got to grab about me. He's out there. They got to deal with him on the field through 70, 80 plays a game.
Last year, Jameis was talking about trying to not step on the toes of the older players, the older receivers, and things like that.
He was lying. He was lying. After he got his feet on the ground, he was lying. I'm saying that right now.
With his command of the offense and obviously understand what we do defensively, does he also do it for the defense?
Oh, he sets a standard for competition. Now, I'm going to say this. Like I say, our 7-on-7s and stuff they said in the summer, I mean, they were bloodlettings now. I mean, there's some competitors on both sides of the ball now. When one gets stopped, the other's going to go to it gets on top, and if that one scores, the other's going, no, we're going again. I mean, there is a tremendous competition level around here and expectation. I mean, and they sometimes I have to say, whoa. I mean, they enjoy it. But I'm going to say this, it's never done disrespectfully. It's never done in malice. It's never I've been on teams to do that and go get into it with the other team and try to hurt the others. They understand it. I mean, it's about what's best for them. They ain't gonna take a deep shot. They ain't gonna. Then afterwards, they're buddies. I mean, when it's on there, these guys. I mean, they love to compete. Which is what it's about.
Well, your entire 2014 Class D out there, all eligible
Yes.
today. What does that do for you again? Just to not have to worry about guys at this stage and.
It's critical. It is critical. I mean, just again, you can if you recruit a guy that doesn't qualify and you know it and you think he's certain guys in the past I have signed a guy knowing we would place him. But those days you can't do that anymore because you can't oversign and do those things. I mean, I think that's wrong. I really do because I think it gives a kid encouragement that I didn't do it here, but I do have a future and it gives you. I think that's a good thing. I really do. But at the same time, you got to recruit. If they're not going to be here, all you're doing is practicing recruiting. I got enough time. I don't have very much spare time to practice recruiting. So I mean, getting them qualified and knowing the guys that can qualify, and it is extremely critical because they got to be here to play.
Coach, out in Pasadena, Coach Brewster had talked a little bit about how excited he would be for this season, that you guys could go too tight a little bit more, use the silver personnel with either Hapley or somebody else. Is that something that you would do?
Yeah, we've always done that here. We've always done. Last year just was, we had not as many tight ends, but that'll always be incorporated into our package in some way, shape, or form.
Is there a leader in the clubhouse for the second job right now?
I'll be happy about that. I mean, Nick and Kevin had a really good summer. Coming back, I mean, I see significant difference in him now, even from spring. I mean, big time. Because spring, he was still nursing it, getting confidence back in it. Now the strength's back in it. You see him running his strength numbers. He's had a tremendous summer. He really has.
Speaking of those guys, bigger role for Nick this year, just with the youth at the wide receiver position.
I think that would happen if there was experienced guys out there because Nick is one of the unique guys in this country. To me, of what kind of player he is and the understanding, and Nick's a truly great player. And he is now. You talk about a guy who's done a great job in the offseason. I mean, got over 500 benches, over 400, running well with all his skills. But now he's really becoming a physical. He weighs about 248 right now. He's about 248 now. I mean, running well, looks really good.
How much does Mario transform his body?
Mario, he transformed it. He's so daggone big and athletic. I mean, he's still 300 pounds. I mean, he's a natural 300-pound guy. But we play with those guys at LSU a lot of times, 300-pound ends. You can set him and do a standing backflip and run under 5 flat and bend like he does. You don't have to worry about it. He's so extremely powerful. But he's squatted 6-something. Stop him on that. And 4-something. He's a 340, 350. For a guy that saw it that size of door, that's pretty hard.
I can move around a little bit on the line.
Good. Which see him, Pastor, all those guys have the ability to stand up, move, get displaced. It'll be a 3 technique. Rush on the guard, rush on the end, stand up, get on the back. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, he's a very versatile guy.
When you signed that really big offensive line class, you think some of those guys will you make an effort to get those guys in games?
We'll try to. I mean, I think it's going to be important because, one, to develop quality backups with the other upperclassmen we have, but also for the future of our program, if we can, to get those guys in games because they're going to be counted upon relatively quickly. And I've done a real nice. I like the looks of that group. I do, and they've done a good job this summer learning.
Jimbo, can you share your workout and diet routine?
It's easy.
What you been doing?
Eating right, just eating smaller portions, and start eating right. And then used to just do a lot of cardio for a while. Then got into 30 minutes of hard cardio, elliptical. And I go about 30 to 40 minutes of lifting every day. And I do that with 30-second rest. I mean, heavy weights, but at the same time, still doing it with fast cardio. So I'm trying to reshape my body and do all that too. So.
Was there some kind of epiphany where you said, I gotta do something?
Just got tired. I mean, just quit making excuses like that. Make it a priority in my life. I mean, health's the best thing you have to have. The most important thing in life is health, till you never have it. We talk about everything else. We want money, we want time, if you don't have health, you don't have any of it. And I got tired of looking at myself and making excuses for being heavy and overweight, and I need to take care of myself. The blood pressure and stress and everything in my business is cholesterol, things like that can happen to you, sneak up on you very quickly. So just as a priority, block out an hour every day and do it, no matter if I have to get up in the morning, late in the evening, or at noon.
I heard 40.
Huh?
I heard 40.
Yeah, right in that range. I haven't been on scale for a while. I'm comfortable now. So.
Jimbo, this is your getting ready for your 5th year as the head coach. I assume the program is where you expected it to be after 5 years. The culture.
Well, I was hoping. I mean, that's what we wanted to be. We wanted to have a culture that expected to be great, but understood it's easy to expect to be great. It's easy to say I want to do this, but to put the pieces in place and educate the people in the organization and your team to know how to act and how to interact with the players is your administration and the media, from the SID to the weight room to the training room to everything that affects these kids. How is a certain way we're going to do things, and it all has to be one. And I think we're getting there. I still think there's always pieces we got to tweak and turn, and we're learning. And then the players of the expectations and how to act and what to do, and then because there's a point. Okay, I got these pieces in place, and I do this and I do that, but you've never achieved it. Till you ever do it, then once you do it, you say, I know. Then when you know how to repeat it. That's what I'm happy about, and I'm very excited that we've done that, and we should have the knowledge to move forward. And whether that means win the championship or not, but how you conduct yourself, how you play, how you prepare each week, the class you carry yourself with, the way you represent the organization, all those types of things.
Coach, how much easier was this offseason for you, relatively speaking, with the staff being mostly all, returning, all coming back?
I don't know if they're ever easy. I mean, I say that because as soon as it gets easy, you get complacent. Now, maybe you don't have to explain something in as much detail, but at the same time, you do. Because as soon as I don't, they get used to not hearing it, and all of a sudden, I slip. As a head coach, you slip. I got to remind myself to do it to them every day. So it sets the standard for way things. Because if I don't do it, guess what? The way he's saying, well, coach didn't say that. Maybe I'll let it slip, and it slips to the players. That's the way things go. And I've had to make myself do that. I've caught myself because human nature is to take the easy way out and to relax. And you got to force yourself. Like I say, winning's hard. Why didn't everybody do it? Championships are hard. They weren't. Everybody get them. I mean, you got to remind yourself every day to do those things. They're hard. It's hard to do that. But to say it's any easier, I don't really think it is. Now, they may understand you better from that point, but I don't think it ever gets any easier. Sometimes it gets harder because then you got to sit and make them listen to the same thing over and over and over again. And you say, well, why don't you say something different? That's what I tell them. And the reasons you have success change, and I'll change. Till then, we'll repeat it over and over.
Jimbo, the new dorms, is that mostly for the younger guys, or how?
No, we got the freshmen and sophomores in it right now. And I want those guys to learn, and I want our guys to learn to stay there. So, because some of the guys were off, we've let some of them move back. Some are wanting to move back in now after they've actually seen them. And the convenience and the things that go with them as far as being able to walk across here and all that. So all the freshmen and almost the majority of the sophomores, sophomores are all in. Hopefully then next year do another class. Then if they want to go off as seniors, we may let them do that. But I think we're going to find out they're going to enjoy those things.
You already had a response from recruits about.
Oh, no doubt. That's why we went off campus to stay where we stayed as a legacy. I mean, housing is a critical thing. And you think about it, why is it important? Well, no matter what you say, where do you spend your most time at? Where you live. I mean, it's got to be convenient, it needs to be nice, it's got to be, and sometimes somewhere where you can relax and take your mind off things. And I think it was a very critical point in mindset and culture of an organization. I've always felt that. And I think what we've been able to do there is very critical for our future. In a lot of ways, not just the recruiting part of it. Team dynamics, team chemistry, who's hanging with the players, all that stuff.
You came back, were you, your impressions of Burke, I guess?
I lived in Burke for 3 months when I came back. Why do you think we built some new ones? No, they were it back in the day, but I mean, everything gets outdated. Everything gets, it's time you got to continually update and your motto and remove. Because again, if you keep staying there, somebody's passing you up.
All right.
We good? Thank y'all.